Hello and welcome to Office Hours. I am not Dave Meltzer, and neither is Brian. Dave is actually on an airplane coming back from Ireland today. So Brian and I are filling in for David. I'm Blaine Bartlett, and I'm the regular co-host with David on this Thursday edition of Office Hours. And Brian, just real quick, you host an Instagram show with David, I believe, on Friday mornings. Is that correct?
Monday mornings, Breaking Beyond,
Monday
and then obviously I'm also a filler for a lot of these other host spots for Office Hours intermittently. So yeah.
Great. Well, we have got a great lineup today, folks. Beginning with Lizet Zayas. And Lizet, I was going through the pre-show notes, and I am just thrilled about what you are up to. I mean, it's just truly amazing. She's going to be talking about stories of passion, and just the word passion. First of all, it always gets my attention. But this is a book of photography about people and how they are actually, setting themselves up for success in life. So, yeah, I'm going to do a grave injustice to what you're about by describing it. So I'm going to just kind of turn it over to you. The title of the book is Stories of Passion from Around the World. Stories of Passion from Around the World. So a couple of things here. How did this, first of all, pique your interest? And number two, how did you go about actually grabbing these photos? Because I haven't seen the book, but I can only imagine what these look like.
Thank you. Hi, Blaine. Thank you for having me. So, my background is a creative director. So before I embraced the entrepreneur world, I was a creative director, art director, designer. So I always been passionate about art. And 2 years ago, I was living in France prior to the pandemic. So I was always visiting all those like galleries, and they really treasure the books over there. And I have my collection of books of photography. So I am as an entrepreneur, I felt that there was a lot of opportunities for people to share more about what they are about aside from their work. We all have all these accolades and titles, but I don't think this defines us. I think it's our passion for what we do in our life and our challenges and everything that is that is really important in our lives, that we have more to share that can leave an impact to others. And I don't know about you, but when I listen to somebody else's story, sometimes there's something that they say that it really resonates with me, and it stays with me, and it actually helps me shape my direction, like, oh, I know now what I need to do. So I felt that I wanted to do something, a book where people could really share about their passion, because that's all we got. If you think about it, passion is what the way where we can fight for things, we can pursue things, is our most essential tool, but also give an opportunity for people to celebrate them, to celebrate what they are about, what they believe in, and to give them a space where they can show their most authentic selves, the pure beauty of humanity. And I feel like that's what success is about. So the book, it's in work in progress right now. I am interviewing people, getting the right people to be in this book. So I don't have the actual book myself. We're working on it. But yeah, this is my intention. This is my mission.
Well, hey, Brian and I are both very photogenic, so
Although many have joked that for me, I not only have a voice for radio, but a face for radio as well. So I'm not sure about the photogenic part on Blaine's part, but there you go. Lizet, I can feel your passion coming through the screen. I can feel the way that you want to allow your truth, the truth of other people, to give others permission to live theirs. And one of the things that I love is that you really described the passion supporting the success. So 2 questions. You talked about this book as to show the human side of success. So first, I'd like you to define success to you. And then second, could you expand on that and talk about what the human side of success is to you?
To me, success is being authentic, and I think it's something you can relate, because I know you talk about this as well. Because if we fool ourselves, then we won't achieve success, right? We're going in the wrong direction. So for me, that's success. And success is also about pursuing what's important, whether it's our family, supporting our family, or just working on for a mission. It has nothing to do what most people portray about success. And that leads to your second question, is that I want to redefine what success is, because with the meaning of it, because I feel like most people are sort of lost in that direction. They're chasing something that they're not, and they think that there's those titles or everything that they're chasing is going to give them that success, and then later they find out that they're wrong in the wrong direction. It's not who they are. So I want to change what our definition of success. And it's my alchemist mission right now with this book, because as I am like having these interviews, this conversation, most people think like, oh, a feature book, I want to go be there. They don't care what it is. They don't know. They just want to be there. And then once they really start understand, they're like, oh, I don't think this is for me. And then there's some people that really feel this and they want to be part of it, so they really get it. So my mission right now is to also give an opportunity for people to question themselves. Well, what is success to you, and why do you want to be featured, and what is that message that you want to share to others, and what is that impact or that legacy you want to leave? If you have a book and someone in your home with photographies and the stories of people from all over the world, no matter their ethnicity, no matter their social economical level, what would that message be that will impact you? So I think it's a question for all of us to constantly ask, like, well, what is success to us? And I think we can always also change as we're going on our path.
You know, I love that definition, and the way that you're actually approaching this. Earl Nightingale, years ago, said that his definition of success was that it was the continual pursuit of a worthy ideal. Yeah, and I've always liked that definition, the continual pursuit of a worthy ideal. And one of the things that comes to mind around that is just the question, is your dream worthy of you? And this is, I think, where the authenticity starts to come into play. Because if I'm not being authentic, if I'm kind of a puppet on a string, so to speak, I'm at the effect of society's definitions of what a successful person should be, could be, that sort of a thing. There's not a worthy ideal in there. But if I begin to really, and this is the introspection piece, begin to really pay attention to who I am and start questioning, who am I? Then that worthy ideal begins to emerge. And that becomes a very interesting place to live life from. You know, so part of, and there is a question embedded in this. Is as a photojournalist, you know, in this context, how do you act? How are you actually going about recording that pursuit of a worthy ideal photographically?
It's up to them what they want to share, each other person that is in the book. But my criteria is that just show the most authentic person, like the purest, that represents their activity or who you are. So some people are saying, I don't think I want to show a picture of me, but that's what I want. I want people to, remove all these things, the distractions, and show who you are. So that is very simple. Show a picture of yourself, who you are, because I really believe that if you show who you are, then you will attract the right people to work with, for your relationships, for your environment, and anything that makes you happy and that you enjoy. So when we pretend to be something else and show something else, we attract something else, a completely different environment that might be off.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love the way you speak. Clearly, we resonate on a deep level, at least in terms of like concept and identification of concept. I love how clear you are on the authentic self and helping people discover who they are. I also liked how you answered my prior question. And so what I'm curious about is, so many people chase success based on the way the world typically defines it, which is around financial or material things in a lot of cases. And so I like to say that for a long time, I chased the what's of the world based on how the world told me to chase, because it always told me what house I wanted, what car I wanted, what spouse I wanted, what amount of money I wanted to make, what amount of success I could have, right? And so I chased all the what's, accomplished them all, but what it actually did was it caused me to lose who I was in the process. Now, years I've had to actually fight back to get back to my most authentic burning self, the person who I was in the very beginning. And so what I'm curious about is, this is something we help people with deeply. part of your work is to help people identify with, go into that internal journey, and then be able to create success in their life in any one of these verticals based on their most authentic self. So if someone has no idea who they are, they have no idea how to find their authentic self, where should they start?
Listening to the heart and really and walking up, having the courage to walk away for what feels off. And we constantly get that validation. And when we're looking for jobs or we're going on interviews or even in relationships, we're constantly having that feeling telling us this doesn't feel right, or someone makes us feel that it's not okay, or we walk away not satisfied, or something doesn't work out because it's not meant to. So we gotta listen to ourselves first. It's not what other people say that we should do or that things how things should be. Is listening what feels right to us. And no one knows our path. We're trying to discover it. We're trying to discover our destiny. So listen to ourselves and having the courage to walk away when something doesn't feel right. It takes courage because sometimes we can have a perfect life, but it doesn't feel right. And we have to walk away from it because we have a different destiny to pursue.
No,
That's my take.
Again, it's that introspection, it's that inward journey that begins to manifest externally. And the idea of imagination starts to crop up for me here. A good friend of mine passed just recently, a fellow by the name of Bob Proctor. And many people knew Bob, or if they didn't know him, they knew of him. And he was one of my dearest friends and was a mentor to me. Part of the eulogy that I spoke about him was what I'm going to miss is the physical form of Bob Proctor. What I am not going to miss is the idea of Bob Proctor, because Bob curated an idea about who he could be in life and what was important in life. And he spent his entire adult life, really, from the time that he was in his mid-20s through his passing at 87, literally living into that ideal. And I came across a writing not too long ago that identified, or at least provided, a very interesting definition for imagination. And the very short version of it was: imagination is spiritual sensation. Spiritual sensation. And when my spirit is tickled, when my spirit becomes alive, there's a sensation around it. And yeah, it can inform me of what to walk away from, but it can also inform me about what to walk towards. And every one of us is an idea. I mean, we really are. Yeah, we're ideas on 2 feet walking around this planet. In your work with your folks that you're actually interacting with here, what part of their journey, what part of your journey is involved with imagination?
I'm a visionary. Like I said, I come from a creative background, so I start everything with imagination. So that idea. So and not everybody has it, or not everybody practices, right? Because it takes development. So I allow them to, I ask them to work on their vision board. This is a very simple step for many that don't know what that is. But just to be able to connect your emotion of how you feel when you see a picture of someone's life, but if that's something that you want for yourself, if it feels right, that's the direction that you have to go. So it's connecting that emotion, that sensation, but most people need to see it, just like we see it on celebrities and we idolize them and we follow. They are our vision board, right? We pursue other things. But what if we connected that emotion and we dare to imagine what would be our lives or we dare to pursue it? So it's all connected to emotion, but seeing it and feeling it, similar to what Bob would say, you have to really feel it. And you imagine it, you have to feel it.
Excellent.
We have to feel in order to heal and in order to be whole to who we are. It's simple. And I love that you say, listen to yourself, and you identify that to the feelings, not our thoughts, but our feelings. That's typically what's going to point us at what it is. Lizet, thank you so much for joining us today. It was incredible. We'll obviously have to get you back when Dave is here himself. Where can people follow you? Where can they engage and really follow this project that you're working on? Because it is surely a passion project, and I'm sure others want to be involved in some way.
Thank you so much. So yeah, you can find me on Successfully.world and /stories of passion. That's where they can find the book. I'm out there. I have my YouTube channel, Lizet Zayas, and also on on Instagram. So yeah, with my name, Lizet Zayas, they can find me. I'm out there.
Thank you so much, Lizet.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic meeting you. Talk soon. Bye.
Take care. Wow. I love passion. Passion just kind of lights up the whole world. That's
It does.
yeah. What am I willing to just kind of engage from? Just that lights me up. And speaking of being lit up, Bill Carpoum, come light us up.
How you doing? How you doing, guys?
We're
Where's
doing
Dave?
great. David is on a plane back from Ireland today.
Oh, okay.
So we will circle back with you so that you get your time with him. But we wanted to be sure that we just kind of kept some continuity going here, and that you had an opportunity to talk about what it was that you actually wanted to bring to the table right now. And then we can expand on it a little bit later as well. So you've got some interesting things going on with particularly AI in healthcare.
We do.
So yeah, and I'm interested in that. I'm on the teaching faculty of the American Association for Physician Leaders, and the idea of AI in healthcare and how it actually is making the job of a physician a lot easier in some ways is an interesting conversation to have, or at least the promise that it could make the job easier.
Exactly. Nobody really knows, right? At this point. Yeah. So, we've looked at AI, and AI is already starting to become an overused term, by the way. I mean, AI in everything that we do. So it's not something that's so unique and so special. Most of the companies that come through our accelerator are either using AI or have an AI component to them. So about a year ago, we started a journey to say, okay, how could we really bring a global hub of AI to Southern California? And we've helped do that in industries like ophthalmology. And generally, to do that, you need good corporate sponsors, large ones. You need innovation. You need capital, and you need to be able to consume those products and services, whatever it is that they are. So when we started the journey, we were saying, okay, we want to do this in AI, and then we stepped back and said, my God, that's just enormous. I mean, we can't take a chunk off like that. So we pivoted a little bit. I'm not quite sure pivot is the right word, but we realigned and said, okay, let's look at it just in healthcare. Let's forget about it in fintech and cybersecurity and many of the other components. Well, of course, healthcare is enormous also. So with that, we decided to focus on two separate, I'll call them lanes or tracks. One would be for Octane, the organization that I'm the CEO of, to really create more AI companies. So, and that's really not that difficult. I mean, it's a matter of resources. We need additional resources to be able to do that. But in that, we would be providing more companies and incubating and accelerating more companies. That's probably a quick turn, something we can do within a year, maybe even shorter. The second piece, though, is more aspirational. And before I talk about that, the board that we put together had some members of the Octane board, but also representation from UCI Health, UCSD, UCLA, different practitioners, and people really heavy in the health component. So as we decided what we wanted to do with that, with the generational impact, I'll call it, it was really to create a platform for AI to be able to deal with health inequities, population health, precision medicine. And the aspiration is for Southern California to be the healthiest region in the world. And when I say that, it almost sounds so ridiculous because it's so aspirational, and we don't even know where we rank at this point. But we look at it and we're saying the first one, creating more companies, we could impact in a year. This one is, you probably don't see any difference for 10 years. And it probably takes an entire generation before it really kicks in.
Yeah, that's something that's worth having. Yeah, I call something like that a goal. Not a goal, it's a goal. It's something I don't have the foggiest clue how I'm going to go about doing it. I know that it's just worth doing, and it lights me up when I think about it. And the true purpose of a goal is to grow. And in the process, I get something. So I just combined the words. It's a growl. And goals are exciting.
I like that. And I always say that goal setting is the intersection of ambition and feasibility. So the ambition's there, the feasibility, I think we've got the right people that, we could get there. But, I think that's one of those goals that, what, if you end up number 2, 3, or 4, so what? It's more a matter of where you are today and where you end up. And so what we're excited about is it doesn't just impact healthcare workers and physicians. It doesn't just impact companies that are creating AI, but at the end of the day, every resident of Southern California will benefit from this. So, it's one of those things that you don't have to be in the industry to benefit. And, that's what I think is really kind of cool about it.
Bill, I think it's incredible. I love AI. And to your point, exactly, AI is like a household term and it means about 1,000 different things, right?
Yeah.
So, I love that we're sitting here talking about AI in healthcare. I also like that you expanded in some particular ways in phase 2. And one of the things that you talked about, although this wasn't the term you used, was really social determinants of health and ways that we can start to really be able to level set some of those things. Now, I'm based in Phoenix. Clearly, I'm not today. I'm in a hotel room in Austin. But in Phoenix, I always found it very, very incredible. I've done a lot in healthcare, both professionally and philanthropically over the years. And in a 15-mile gap in Phoenix between downtown Phoenix and North Scottsdale, there's a 20-year difference in life expectancy due to the social determinants of health and some of the social inequalities that you talked about. So what I'm curious about is, as a market as broad and robust as California, and Southern California in particular, with the social inequalities being from the richest of rich people on the planet to some of the poorest of poor, how are some of these AI approaches actually solving some of the issues in the healthcare space to improve the overall healthcare of the population?
Well, it's interesting what you just said, because it wasn't more than 2 months ago that we had a meeting and we were on the top floor of a building in Fashion Island, which is just one of the most poshest places around, right? And the individual that was speaking said, look out the window and you see enormous wealth and the ocean and the homes and the yachts, and you go 10 miles to the east and it's extreme. I mean, there's poverty in some instances. Mm-hmm. So that whole social determinant aspect and the 20 years is surprising to me, but I buy into it. I know there's a tremendous difference. So when we, so anyway, I'm, just commenting, I get what you're saying on that. And that's really where we believe AI can reach down to those communities that want to aspire to be better and all. Now, if I look at it, we are not yet at a place that we have a strategic plan. And so, as we're looking at this, one of the determinations that we made was that this cannot be a part-time initiative. It needs a full-time leader. And so, we quickly looked and went out to the market and, found I guess I could say it here, the Samueli Foundation loved this initiative and decided to fund it so we could bring an individual to lead it. And it's a high-profile position, it's a high-profile job that requires someone that has good business acumen and good business experience. So the idea here is, over the next 30 to 45 days, we come out with a very specific strategy. But I will tell you, one of the ideas here from Dr. Anthony Chang, who's very involved with this, is involved on AI and healthcare across the world, but it sits on the board of this particular initiative, which is healthsocal.ai. But where we want to get to is that a child born in Orange County will basically have a health plan for life. So it will be able to create the determinants of what that child is prone to in terms of what potential diseases. Is it heart disease? Is it cancer? Is it just glaucoma, something minor like that, and be able to chart a health plan for that individual. And that's why a lot of the way we're looking at this is generational, because it's going to take time for it to cycle through that. But I know, within the next 45 to 60 days, we're going to have a fully baked plan that we're going to be able to come out to the market and really state this is exactly how we're going to deliver these services.
What kind of interest are you getting outside of the local SoCal folks at a national level on this kind of an initiative? Because the scaling on this could be a very interesting aspiration as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the individuals that are helping us to fund this are not interested in it being only a Southern California initiative. So we've got to start somewhere, and we're starting in Southern California. Okay. And then, I think the idea and that what we'll bake into the plan is how do we expand domestically, and then how do we expand globally after that? Because it could have that type of impact. So, we've got to start somewhere. I don't think it's going to take us a long time. I think we could probably expand outside of Southern California within 2 years. But to answer your question more directly, we've got enormous acceptance of this in markets like Boston, New York, Denver, many of which are doing something similar. So there's an opportunity to collaborate and create that collective impact.
I love that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that you just used the word collective impact. That's one of my favorite terms. We are on a mission to impact 1 billion lives as quickly as possible. It's something I share with our good friend Meltzer, and we always talk about it doesn't happen alone. It only happens through collective impact. So I deeply appreciate that comment, Bill.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of tired of using the term collaboration and having people use it, because it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, everybody says that they're going to collaborate, and then when it's over, everybody goes to their own four corners and does whatever they want to do. Collective impact is the result. So you can
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you can only get there through collaboration, right?
Yep.
That's exactly right.
That's the outcome.
Well, Bill,
that is the outcome.
Bill, it was an absolute pleasure having you. We're going to have to get you back on when Dave is here. Where can people find out more? Is it just octaneoc.org, or you had given another one as well?
Yeah, if you go to our website on octaneoc.org, you'll see our content, you'll see our different conferences, you'll see our accelerator, and the AI initiative is healthsocal.ai. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, and our leader on that will be. I almost had him step in for me today, because as you could see here, I got to get a little plug on this.
Okay.
Sweet 16 game in the next. Within the next hour, so I got to run myself. Well, I wore this because Dave knows how big a fan I am.
Well, priority. He sees this, yeah.
Okay, good to talk to you guys. Thanks. Okay.
Wonderful having you on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this initiative. This is the whole idea of moving from illness mediation to wellness from the get-go. I mean, give me a health plan when I'm born, and then we'll just kind of track it from there. And we've got enough technology today that we can actually prescribe a lot of things that I need to be doing to maintain my health on an ongoing basis going forward. And that begins to work into some very interesting things around longevity and reduction of some of the enormous healthcare costs that we have in this country today. Oh boy,
we definitely are not on the right trajectory today. So it's going to take them and a whole lot of other people to have enough collective impact to change where we're heading for the future generations. So happy that people like Bill are the ones leading the charge on that, because it's definitely needed.
It is definitely needed. Yeah, I've been in the healthcare space long enough to know that it's a sick system. Interestingly,
it is.
Healthcare is sick. So. We got a Shant Assarian. Shant, you're bringing you in here because we're looking at how do we get one mission, kind of under an umbrella here where everybody's on board at the same time. Bill was kind of beginning to describe something that way. It's kind of like herding cats in the healthcare space. So you've got a mission yourself here, and I love what you're bringing to the table about this. Because part of my whole thrust in the work that I do is around this notion of compassionate capitalism. Just how do we actually bring a sensibility to the world of business where ultimately the watchword is first do no harm. And that, and this is just kind of my language for it, but first do no harm. How do you get people involved on a global scale, particularly if it's a global organization, on one page so that there is co-created, coordinated movement that ends up producing the kinds of results that we say that we want to have?
Yeah, and thanks for having me, guys. That's a great question. It starts with the people you bring on board, why are they coming on board to begin with? If their purpose is misaligned, you've got a problem right from the get-go. But on the other hand, if their purpose is aligned and what they're coming on board for is to accomplish what you want to accomplish, that makes everything a lot easier, especially in difficult times when you run into challenges, when everyone is on the same page in terms of what is the desired outcome. Then figuring out how to navigate those challenging times becomes much easier because everyone is striving to accomplish the same thing.
Now,
yeah, Shant, that go ahead, Blaine.
I was going to say, that's easy to say.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's a really interesting challenge to do. And you've got some experience with this. So I would be very interested from your perspective. And you've been in the trenches around this. How do you go about doing that? What are some of the first steps that you've actually found yourself taking that have actually borne fruit?
Yeah, in our situations, it's quite direct and clear. We're working with children. We want to work with children to help them with their math. And we believe that when you do so, it opens up opportunities for them in life that they would not have otherwise. And when you do that in aggregate with many, many children, then you impact society. So when we speak to our prospective franchisees, we start there. Why are you interested in Mathnasium? What is attracting you to becoming a franchisee with us? And we want to hear, and we look to hear that our prospective franchisees want to be working with kids. They want to help their local community. They believe in math, in the importance of math, not just in academia, but for life. And they're on board. That's what they want to be doing locally. And if it's in our conversations with them, if it's clear that that's not really why they're attracted to Mathnasium, if there are alternative reasons that are creating misalignment, we're clear that this might not be the business model for you. I mean, that's the polite way of saying, sorry, this is a mismatch. So I think you have to be really clear and transparent upfront, and you're not going to get it right 100% of the time. Sometimes you believe you're entering into a relationship where you're aligned, only to find once you're in the relationship, it develops and business gets going that actually there's misalignment. And in that situation, you have to have an honest conversation together and determine what the next steps are. And that happens with our system, not frequently, but it does happen occasionally. And we find the franchisees who decide that local business that they started is going to be in the better in the hands with someone else in a better shape. We help them get there. But
I love it.
Up front, that's the best, and we found it to be successful. Again, being transparent up front, being very direct and very clear, not dancing around the topic, and making sure that everyone understands what the expectations are, what we're striving to accomplish, and then moving forward.
Yeah, so clarity and communication, setting and managing expectations, those are some obvious, like really, really solid leadership strategies. What I'm curious about, you serve well over 100,000 children in neighborhoods across 5 different countries, or continents, rather. And so across the global scale that you have, you also transitioned between COO to CEO during the pandemic. Yeah. Well, we saw across the globe, and for the first time in history, right, we truly were all set at the same level. We had a unifying event where CEOs, COOs, and the lowest level frontline staff in any organization were all now relegated to the same technology to communicate and build and grow businesses, right? Everybody, it was an equalizer. It brought everybody to the same level. So that creates a lot of fear, that creates a lot of anxiety, that creates a lot of disrupt, particularly around cultures of organizations when everybody's now in their own homes dealing with everything else they've got on their plate. So mission-based organizations often are the ones, in my opinion, that are going to have the greatest amount of longevity, particularly in tumultuous times like this. What have been some of the top lessons that you learned to unify your organization through such a chaotic time? And how can that be applied in normal times and on a go-forward basis for all organizations?
Yeah, in our situation, those first couple months when the pandemic came on here in the United States, they were definitely challenging, and we had substantially all of our learning centers had to close, and we did have an online platform already in play, and it was proprietary. It's called Mathnasium at Home, and that was already in place. So it was a matter of us scaling that up to the volume all of a sudden that we had to accommodate on that platform. And so there were challenges there, but navigating through those challenges, what really helped and got us through it was the relationships that we had that existed already. And so a key is having strong relationships and nurturing relationships and strengthening relationships always. You don't want to wait for an event, because if you're waiting for an event, you're too late if that event has already happened, and then you try and have strong relationships. So we had strong relationships with our franchisees. We had strong relationships within our own organization with our team members. And that was critical. And then going back to, why are we together? What are we looking to accomplish together? Keeping that focus. Okay, we have this global event taking place. And yes, we're having this situation where we are used to teaching in person. That's what we're used to. But we're committed to continuing the education because we know how important it is. We're working with children, and in that drive to make sure that we do right by our customers, by those kids, plus the relationships that are already strong, that really got us through the situation. With our team working to scale up the platform to accommodate the dramatic increase in volume, and then with our franchisees helping them navigate through PPP, having them navigate through, okay, I need to really get on top of how we work with this platform, taking them through training. And yes, scary times, very stressful times, but relying on the relationships, relying on the mission. And it doesn't completely alleviate the stress, but the attitude of, we're in the situation we're in, but we're going to find the solution and we're going to keep going. And the attitude of, how do we actually turn this around and somehow use it to our advantage if you can. And one thing we tried to do to the best of our abilities was, we saw that all of a sudden parents are at home and the kids are at home. So we just, on an open channel, offered up Mathnasium Schoolhouse, is what we called it back then. It was just, okay, you can log on in short sessions for math. You don't have to be a Mathnasium customer. It was our way of, let's see if we can help society through that. But it was definitely about the relationship, the drive on the mission, and the attitude of, yep, it's a tough situation. We're going to get through it, and not only are we going to get through it, we're going to find ways to be even better.
Yeah, that focus on the we and that collective impact. I mean, just to go back to the conversation we had with the guest right before you came on, that collective impact, and it's all predicated on relationship. So, yeah, Shant, where can folks find out more about Mathnasium and about what you're up to? Because I think it's just an incredibly compelling mission that you are actually bringing to the table here.
Yeah, Mathnasium.com is a quick and easy way to learn more. But if you're driving by a learning center, all of our franchisees are very welcoming. Please just drop by and just speak to the local franchisee, and they are very proud of what they do and what they accomplish working with children, and very open and happy to share what we're doing there in those local communities. So if you can't drive by, check us out on Mathnasium.com, but definitely in person. We love the in person. We love speaking, and we love sharing what we do and showing it too. So at a center, we can show it.
Yeah. Well, learning is all about access to experience. So
yes, absolutely.
That's what you're making possible. And yeah, just by the way, as an aside here, I love that you opened it up to folks that were not quote unquote customers. I mean, when we start looking at ourselves as centers of distribution, as opposed to centers of accumulation, centers of distribution, we make a big difference. And that's the kind of impact that I think the world is actually seeking today, is organizations and individuals that see themselves as centers of distribution. I've got knowledge. I've got something to share, have access to it. So I want to just thank you and acknowledge the work that you did on that. That's truly truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, Shant. We'll definitely have to get you back when Dave is back.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
You bet. You take care. Wow.
All right, brother. Yeah, three great guests, man. What was your takeaway for the day?
I'm actually going to, kind of put it in something, an acronym that I call FSOW, for the sake of what, which is different than the why. Okay. Mm-hmm. Every one of our guests, Lizet, Bill, and Shant talked about something that can be couched in this notion of for the sake of what? For the sake of what am I, what is success? Success is defined for the sake of what's that worthy ideal. Healthcare. For the sake of what? There's something there that's different than illness prevention or illness mediation. And with Mathnasium, the idea there of making a difference in the way that people are actually beginning to organize their lives and thinking and actually coming together as community around a mission. For the sake of what? As an organizing principle for anything that I'm doing in my life. That's probably where I'm going to go with that.
That's really solid, man. Very much. I like that a lot. I'm going to keep mine simple across the theme, and it's not dissimilar from yours, but I think what's really clear is passion speaks for itself, but purposeful passion leads towards collective impact. And so the thing that was just really clear across all three guests was the who, the passion, and the impact that's going to come from each one of their hearts and what they're collectively working on. So that's my takeaway for the day, is don't just have passion, have purposeful passion. And if you focus on collective impact, meaning you're not doing it alone, we're doing this together, we focus on the end goal impact, we're all going to be on the right path, my friend.
We're all good. Brian, I've loved working with you on this. Didn't miss Dave at all.
Well, no, we didn't. We'll have to make sure that he knows that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Blaine, it was a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely, buddy. You've been listening to Office Hours with David Meltzer. While David Meltzer wasn't here, I'm Blaine Bartlett. And we will catch you on the next edition of Monday with Brian and David. Every Thursday with David, myself here on Office Hours. And I think David is going to be doing some stuff on Friday, the regular thing. And you can see that in the Sharon that goes down below there, the free training. So folks, want to thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care.